Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to look at how to connect a MCP server from within AI Agent Studio or AI Agent Builder of Automation Anywhere, which can be accessed at ai.automationanywhere.com. You must be familiar with this platform. If not, today you'll get familiarized. So once you log into ai.automationanywhere.com, don't worry, if you don't have credentials, you can register, sign up and register. You will get some credits and you can use this for your practice. So ai.automationanywhere.com, I'm just getting in. I've already created my account. In case you're not familiar with this platform, you can go to my YouTube channel. I have created a dedicated playlist for you. You can watch a couple of videos there so that you get an idea about this platform. Earlier, it was also known as Automation Anywhere Enterprise Knowledge. So this is the playlist you can watch. I'll also mention the link in the description. Let's go back. So once you log in, this is the dashboard you see. For you, if you're trying it for the first time, it will be blank for you. You'll get an option to either import a project or create a project. But if you are already utilizing it, then you'll see this kind of view where you'll see all other projects that you might have created. So let's go. Let's create a new project here. And I'll name it MCP Feature Demo. And I'll quickly hit on a create project. And once the project is created, we get this project, and as soon as you create a project, you'll get all the options, like you get a chat feature, agent, tools, knowledge base, all these things I have covered in the playlist you can watch. So today we'll be focusing on this platform just from a adding MCP server perspective. So once I'm inside my project, I'll create a custom agent and I'll name this agent like my MCP agent or whatever you would like to give it. You can name it accordingly, and I'll choose the model by default, let's say GPT-5. And in the personality, I'll just keep it default. You are a helpful assistant. That's it. I don't want to be fancy here, but this personality prompt is something where you can decide or add a system prompt, or you give a role to your agent, give a personality to your agent, like what exactly this agent is supposed to do and what is the persona of this agent. Okay. For now, we'll keep it default. Then we'll go to MCP, but before going there, I'll just like to highlight there is an option called toolkit where you can enable web search. If you add this to this agent, then your agent has access to web search. It can search the latest event, latest news from the web, from Google search or from Bing search, whatever it is. And if you give access to knowledge base to an agent, so if you upload any document to this knowledge base, then it can query, it can fetch you the data. While you are interacting with this agent, it can consider the knowledge base, and from that knowledge base, it can respond to your queries. And similarly, we have other features also like database as an agent or database as a tool, Python code as a tool, GitHub, Node.js, Bitbucket, and stuff like that. So yeah, that's not the focus of today's session. We'll straight away go to the MCP tab. In MCP servers, it gives you access to add MCP servers to your agent. So all these options that we get here are specific to your agent that you have created. So your agent has a general tab where you can define the personality, you can define the response format, you can define the context handling and stuff like that. And then you have various other options, like you can enable the memory, you can add MCP servers, you can play around with other settings related to your agent, but we'll stick to MCP server configuration for this video. So by default, you get here a popular server, like pre-added server, MCP server, like from Sentry. It is a monitoring platform, but we can just click add and it get added. But again, you need to provide the credentials, all that here. Like for example, you need to have access to this and then access. Like we will remove this. This is not what we want. So we will go ahead and add a custom MCP server. How to do that? You can click either add your first server, or you can click here to add a server. This button you can click on. So let's add. Once you click on add a server, you get some options. Let's define n8n server name and transport type. I will keep HTTP. There are two options, server side events and HTTP. We'll keep it HTTP for now. And because that's how I will connect to my MCP server in n8n. Before getting there, how to fetch these details? Let's see how to configure and how to fetch these values. So since we are connecting our n8n MCP server, we have to first go and configure that in n8n, right? Enable that in n8n. So that is another platform. So n8n platform, if you're not aware, this is my cloud instance of n8n. I have logged into cloud instance. If you're not aware about n8n basics, how you can install, how you can access, again, I have a dedicated series and a playlist there for n8n. You can watch those videos to get some knowledge about n8n, some basic ground level knowledge, and then get started. So n8n is a AI-driven workflow automation platform where you can build a lot other workflows, rule-driven, AI-driven workflows, and AI agents in a low-code way. So I have created these are my workflows that I've created on this particular instance: daily AI news summary agent, RAG use case agent, and others. So what you have to do whenever you create any workflow in n8n, you have to publish it. For your MCP server to call your workflow or to access your workflows, they should be in a published state. If they are not in published state, that means they are in private. They are only known to your particular instance, and they are not publicly available, or they are not discoverable. So how to do that, how to make it publish? You go into your agent or into your workflow that you have developed in n8n, and you just need to click on publish button here. So there are publish and unpublish button. So you just need to click on publish so that your workflow is published and it's available as a public access, for a public access. Then what you have to do, once you have done that, you need to go here in the settings tab and click on this little option here, instance level MCP. Once you click on instance level MCP, you get this option like enable MCP. So you need to click this. Once you click this, you get these connection details, OAuth server URL. Copy this OAuth, go to your ai.automationanywhere.com agent, and then paste that URL over here. So this is our server, MCP server URL, right? Now go back and click on access token. We need access token also, right? So we'll click on access token. Once you click on access token, you need to click on this icon to generate a new token. Once I click that, I need to copy this access token, and remember to add bearer also in front of token, because this is how we are using custom header to pass the token to make a authentication, right? So when we are connecting, when this agent is making a request to the MCP server via this URL, it should authenticate itself, right? So for that, what we have to do, we have to pass authorization URL and the token, the bearer token, right? So I'll just pass on to the header like authorization and custom header as a authorization, and here I need to pass on bearer in front of my access token. This, please bear in mind, if you do some mistake here, then you'll get an error. Your connection will not succeed. In authentication mode, you have to just click on no authentication, and you pass your authorization in custom header as a custom header. So after all the settings you have done, all the values you have filled, you click on test, and if everything is okay, you'll get a green connection successful and found 3 tools. So there are 3 tools now which are exposed by n8n as part of this MCP server. What are those tools? First of all, let's understand what is this MCP server of n8n. If you go to the documentation docs.n8n.io, I'll provide this link for you to have a read. So the server allows client such as Lovable or Cloud Desktop or Automation Anywhere Agent Builder to connect securely to an n8n instance. So using this agent, now if the connection is successful via MCP, we can call our n8n workflows directly from this agent, right? That's kind of an integration. So they allow 3 tools at the moment, at the time of recording this video. So search within the workflow that are marked as available via MCP, retrieve metadata and trigger information of the workflows, and trigger and run the exposed workflows. So these 3 tools, 3 methods are exposed. So that's what you see here, found 3 tools. And now what are those 3 tools? How we will enable this? This part is done. We are able to make a connection. Now we have to enable the workflows here. Currently there are no workflows that are being enabled, right? Just enabling the instance level MCP will not help. You have to enable workflows. And now all your public workflows which are published will be listed here, and you can choose which workflow to be enabled that can be accessed as part of this MCP server. So I will enable both the workflows that are published. So I'll enable both of them. And you can define, you can update the description so that for an agent it is easy to see the description and define like what exactly this workflow is doing. For now, we'll keep it default. We'll not do anything fancy here. So this is how I have enabled the access, MCP level access for these two workflows. Now my agent, right, when it will access this MCP server, via this MCP server, it will have access to these two workflows or whichever workflows that are in published state. So this is done. Let me save this and go back to my general tab. And here what you can do is you can type in, please use MCP server whenever needed. And what you can do, please use the MCP server whenever needed or whenever required. And which MCP server, if you type @ here, you will get option to add that toolkit, which is part of MCP server. And you can add that. And you can see here one server enabled. So we have enabled one server. If you go back to, let me save this. And if you go back to toolkits and enable, let's say, web search or knowledge base, right? Then if you go back to general tab, you'll see here web search tool enabled, how many tools you got access, that is also shown. As a part of knowledge base, how many tools you got access, that is also shown. But yeah, we don't need them. I was just showing you how it would look like. So I'll go back to toolkits and remove the reference. Now we have configured MCP server instance level MCP in n8n. I have showed you the process, how to make your workflows, publicly available, like in a published state, and then how to enable instance level MCP, how to configure, how to set up the connection details, and then once everything is set up, how to add that as a MCP server, how to define the personality prompt of the agent, and how to add the MCP server. So we have everything fine. Let's test it one more time before actually calling it via an agent. So connection is successful, all good. Let's go to the chat feature of this agent and test it out. So first question maybe I can ask, can you please list my n8n workflows? Or I can say list my workflows also. Let's see what it has to do. So what exactly it is doing, it is calling the tool n8n search workflow. Search workflow tool it is calling. I'll look up your n8n workflows in your workspace now. Since it has got access to all my workflows through MCP server and it is trying to do a search. So this is how it is able to search, right? We can see this here, and let me collapse this so that it's visible. So here are the n8n workflows in your workspace, RAG use case and the ID of that workflow, and daily AI news summary agent and the ID. And what is the status, what are the trigger form, and when it was last updated, all these metadata details also we are getting. And then it is asking a follow-up question. Would you like to details for any specific workflow, or you want to run it? Maybe I can say, please run daily AI news summary or RAG use case, like any of the agent I can ask it to run. Please run this, and let's see if it is able to trigger it. We can go back here. I will just duplicate the tab and go to see in the executions tab whether it is getting triggered or not. So you can go to your instance and it is just checking the details required, and it is calling the other method, get workflow details. So earlier it was doing n8n search workflows, right? As you can see in the documentation, search, and now we are calling this, right? So let me go back to the executions. In executions, we should see if the workflow is getting triggered. See, it is running right now, 8 seconds, 9 seconds. So this is recently triggered via automation anywhere, AI agent builder, right? So I'll run the daily AI news summary agent and report back with the execution status. So the workflow is running. It will perform its action, and we'll see. In case of error also we'll get the response. In case of success also we'll get the response. So this is how you connect n8n MCP server and call workflows, execute workflows from within Automation Anywhere Agent Builder or ai.automationanywhere.com. And you can click on this execution. Since you know this is the current execution, you can click on that to know the execution status, current execution logs. Also, you can see runtime, what exactly it is doing, which step it is getting executed. So you can see the log, all those logs, it is running. You can stop the execution if you like. So that's how we have to wait until it comes up with the execution completion or failure status, whatever it is. So it's taking a while. Let's see what's happening here. Waiting for function response. Let's go back to the debug mode. Yeah, there's a problem in AI news node. So AI news summarizer node, there's some problem. Max iteration reached, the agent could not complete the task. So there's some problem. So let's go back and try to fix that. So what we can do is we can debug in editor and try to open that. Max iterations reached, and as soon as you get the error, you also get an n8n AI assistant here. If you click here, it will give you, it will analyze the error and it will try to fix you. It will search through the documentation and the n8n community if in case this similar error may have happened. So it will try to fix, it will provide you a clarity or information. It kind of an n8n assistant, AI assistant that will help you to debug your workflow or build along with you. Right? So reduce the complexity you're trying to complete, increase max iteration. So these are something, some suggestions it is giving. So we really don't want all those things. I'll clear the execution log and I'll go back here. What this workflow is doing, what we are trying to do here is we are trying to pass the information, what are the top AI news and development from the past 24 hours. So we'll see, we'll say what are the top 5 AI news from past 24 hours. And in system message, maybe I will just delete this for now, or maybe we can keep it. Like, feel free to use SERP API tool for recent information. So here we have used OpenAI as a chat model, and we have used SERP API as a tool. SERP API is basically helps you to do a web search, right? If in this AI model will not have a recent information, right? Recent current affairs. So if you want to search that, we can use SERP API. It is similar to Google search results. So let's try to execute this particular node because we are in a debug mode. So while debugging, let's try to let's not wait for it to try for 10 times. Let's say I will execute once only. I've enabled this setting, and in the chat model I have configured the model. Like, let me show it to you. I am using GPT-4o mini, and here also I can add built-in tools like web search tool, which will be OpenAI built-in web search tool. But let's go with the Serper API only for now. And this Serper API account I have configured with the credentials, and this is how the dashboard would look like. And this is how, when you search any query, it will give you the search result, like how you search on Google, right? Similar thing. It will give you results in the form of a JSON. That's why we are trying to utilize this Serper tool here, right? SERP API tool. Okay. So let's run and execute this workflow to see if it works. So what exactly this workflow is doing, it will trigger daily 8 AM. Now we have manually executed it, but on the it is scheduled workflow. Daily 8 AM it will run, and it will go fetch the top 5 AI news, and it will summarize and send it over an email. We can see that workflow executed successfully. In the logs we can see what it did. It triggered, it went to the agent. The agent give us this output, and then it is communicating with the chat model, and it is calling this Serper tool to search the information from Google, and this was the final output. It seems that currently I'm unable to fetch the information. However, a general overview I can give you, and these are the research and blah blah blah, and finally it sent an email. So the workflow got executed successfully. Now let's publish this. It is the latest version with which we debugged, right? Which we debugged, and we have fixed the error. Now let's go back to our agent Automation Anywhere agent, and let's refresh this. We'll try to execute the new summary agent again from here. So let me start a new chat, or maybe refresh this. So we have seen a lot of many things in this video: Automation Anywhere AI agent builder, n8n workflows, Server API, MCP server, right? A lot of things. Please feel free to comment below if you have any doubts in any of these. So right now this tool is unable to fetch the response because something happened and n8n workflow was broken there. So let's start a new chat and we'll see if it works there. So please run daily AI news summary agent. This is what I'm gonna give it, and let's see if it is able to get the context, right? Which AI news summary agent we want to run, which workflow we want to run. Let's see what it has to do. So I'll first look for a workflow named daily AI news summary agent so that I can locate exact workflow to run. So it is using n8n search workflow feature to locate, to identify, and then it is identifying what exactly inputs are needed to run that workflow. So it is using n8n search workflow tool, then get workflow details, and then it will use the other function, the other tool to run the workflow, which is execute workflow. So all the three we are seeing getting called one by one, all these three, right? So let's go back, and hopefully this time we get a success. Let's go here. Let's go to the executions tab and see if the workflow is triggered. Yeah, seems it got triggered, and okay, we need to just see whether we got a response. So let's see. Yeah, we got the success response. You can see here, done. I have run the workflow. Here is what happened. Success, status is success. The agent didn't find the result and produce a fallback message. It was not able to call the SERP API, or it was able to call the SERP API but unable to fetch the search results. But however, it, based on whatever the model can generate, it generated a summary and news, and summary was sent to the email ID. It seems there are no recent development, but this was the message that was sent. So yeah, that's how the MCP server can be connected, and you can establish the collection and work it. So this chat feature is just to test it. If you want to deploy this agent, you can go to public chatbot and do some integrations and configurations, and then you can deploy. The same agent can be made available as part of your website, as part of any other application like Teams, and then you can use the chat feature, which is integrated either on the website or either on Teams app. So that's all, guys, regarding adding an MCP server in your Automation Anywhere agent builder. Hope you like this video. If you have any comments, if you have any doubts, any queries, please feel free to comment below and let me know how you find this video. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next.